All right. It was written, episode 2. The topic this week is iconoclasm. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go through just some basic things in biblical history and also world history that that's on this topic and how the effects of iconoclasm can really take a toll on our people. All right. So let me set this up right here. Come on now, I just had it earlier. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna play this one clip right quick and pull this up as well. Well, I'll wait. Let me play this one clip and we're gonna get into it. She's gonna explain what iconoclasm is.
Guys, it's Karen. Welcome back to Little Art Talks. Last time we talked about aniconism and how enforcing it can lead to iconoclasm. That is what we're going to talk about today. Iconoclasm, literally meaning image breaking, is the destruction of religious icons and other images or monuments for religious or political motives. People who engage in or support iconoclasm are called iconoclasts. Conversely, one who reveres or venerates religious images is called, by iconoclasts, an iconolater. There's plenty, and I mean plenty, of examples throughout history. They can be carried out by people of a different religion, but is often the result of disputes between the sects of the same religion. In ancient Egypt, the carved images of some pharaohs were obliterated by their successors. In Christianity, iconoclasm has generally been motivated by people who adopt a literal interpretation of the Ten Commandments. During the French Revolution, images of kings were defaced. Iconoclasm was also evident during and after the communist revolts of Russia and China. Okay, so what kind of impact does iconoclasm have on art history? First of all, it's the destruction of these images, so that's pretty straightforward. These images no longer exist in whole for us to study, so it's a loss of that potential opportunity to learn about the past. But its effects go way beyond that. Desecrating an image sends an incredibly powerful message. Prohibiting
Pretty
and
deep.
damaging religious imagery is a huge insertion of power. It is just as symbolic as it is literal. To remove the face of an old pharaoh is to effectively erase him from history, to reject the old, to dismiss the past. This can result in very violent acts, destruction of places of worship, and also cultivate an intolerance of different ways of worship. So next time you notice some faces scratched off or a head missing from a statue, there might be a little bit more to the story than simply weathering from old age. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and check out our other videos on art history. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, so she gave a pretty good breakdown of iconoclasm. Now, some of the examples we've seen throughout history of iconoclasm can be like what she mentioned, the Sphinx.
Mhm.
Okay, have you noticed like when you see it, the nose is broken off, right?
Yes.
Now they try to tell people that well, that just happened throughout the years of weathering, but why just the nose? Why wasn't all
Right.
parts of the features of the Sphinx were so
Right.
called affected by weathering over the years? Well, the main is because white supremacists, people who was back at that time, noticed that these things had black features,
Mhm.
mainly, like our noses. All right. So they call themselves trying to, I guess, destroy or mess it up in some kind of way by knocking the nose off. And that's not the only I I guess statue or something. The wording loses me now, but that's not the only thing that's been affected
Right.
by that type of stuff. Now I'm gonna pull this up right quick. I put a PDF together. Iconoclasm. Now, what you see right here is a perfect example of iconoclasm. The guy on the right is so-called Jesus, but the guy on the left is named Caesar Borgia. He's the guy who actually posed for this painting. I'm gonna go through some of this stuff right quick. So, iconoclasm refers to the destruction of image or idols, often for religious or political reasons. It's a recurring theme through our history, with instances in ancient Egypt, the Byzantine Empire, and during the Reformation. Essentially, it's the act of breaking, destroying, or defacing images. And now, if you were, I'm gonna just say it like this: one of the things that's that's detrimental to our people is the fact that we're lost and we don't know who we are. We don't know, the Bible says that all of this will be stripped from us. So one of the things that you see a lot in our community is black on black. Is a lot of crime, a lot of theft, a lot of fornication because people just want to get theirs on, and then a lot of times you have these women end up pregnant, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, you see how the image of white Jesus does something to the dominant society, what I'm saying, the white race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to sound racist. I'm just actually talking facts. When they have that presented to them, and that's all they know, instantly they think they are like God's on their side because they see an image of a deity as high as God that looks like them.
Right.
White skin, long, stringy hair, blue eyes. But we also know that that's not the accurate image of
Right.
Jesus in the Bible. So here's some images. Here's a few instances of people throughout the years and through the Renaissance era. What this is not actually images from the Renaissance era, but they actually paint over images of the Renaissance era. They painting over black images and turning them to white images, white faces. All right. So as you can see here, this is now the one on the left is not the actual image of Jesus, but it's a good depiction of what it says in the Bible. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were a flame of fire. That's because Jesus drank wine. He drank wine modestly. So, most of the time our eyes turn red when we drink hard liquor. All right.
Mm-hmm.
His feet were like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. Now, if you burn anything in the furnace, what color is it going to turn?
Yeah, it's all gonna be dark.
Right, exactly. And his voice was as the sound of many waters, meaning he had a big voice. He spoke loud. All right. So these are the things that have been stripped from us. And we've been presented with this image on the right for years. So for the longest, our people, and it's kind of funny that we're kind of like the only race on earth who praises a deity that doesn't look like them. You notice
Mm-hmm.
that? Chinese people have Buddha.
Yeah.
All right. East Indian people have Mithra that
Mm-hmm.
looks like them. All right. Or Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the white race have this white Jesus. You see what I'm saying? And on and on and
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But black people and a lot of Africans, we've been growing up praising the white Jesus. That's because this stuff has been forced on us through colonization, racism, slavery, and all that type of stuff. So this is what they came at us with. Even the Arabs, they have Allah and Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? And these images so-called look like them. Let me pull this up right quick. All right, whitewashing in art. Whitewashing in art is the practice of altering the racial identity of historical and mythical figures in art as a part of a larger pattern of erasing and distorting the histories and contributions of non-whites. All right, now that's really important because that's what we've been dealing with. It mirrors the racial biases and prejudices of those times, which continue to impact society today, as I was saying earlier. It encompasses various facets reflecting historical biases. Now, again, as I was mentioning earlier, what do you think? How do you think our people would be if we knew the truth from day one? That the image that God who created us in his image, you know what I'm saying? Even his son, we all come from the lineage of Jesus and God. So how do you think we would be today if we knew the truth that God is black, Jesus is black? Do you think that would have an impact on the way we see each other? Like, hey, I see you as my brother, I see you as a God, I see you as my sister. And again, a lot of people don't know that the book and the laws were given to us. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet. You see what I'm saying? Thou shalt not steal. So if we knew all these things from day one, which we did at one time, but we broke God's law, statutes, and commandments. But just say like today, if our people knew these things today, how do you think we will act? How do you think we would act in this world?
Man, honestly, I think it would still be the same because just like Pharaoh say, or he tell Moses or anybody else. And as the title of the show, uh, so shall it be done, so shall it be written.
Hmm.
Everything has already been written out.
Right.
And, the truth is out.
Hmm.
We just have to go and seek it.
Exactly.
And we have to be open to receive the truth. Because, like you said, we have been taught wrong for so many years. When people nowadays would rather accept the lie than the truth and feel comfortable with it,
Yes, I totally agree.
you
Yep.
know. But like you said, man, if going back to the question, I believe that the truth is out and people are still acting the same.
Hmm.
It's like they don't care.
Right. Right.
So, even if we had a video of Jesus himself saying, "This is what I've been through, this is what I want you guys to do," people will still act the same.
Mm. 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 That's deep. That's deep because, like you said earlier, the truth is out there. We just have to seek it.
Mhm.
And I've seen the difference in people who actually sought this truth out and how it affected them, and it actually turned their life around. It actually made them
Yeah.
realize that all these years, the Bible said we were going to lose our identity. So we've been looking for an identity for years. A lot of us go to jail and claim Muslim, which is not
Mhm.
our religion. A lot of us again practice these man-made religions like Catholic, Pentecostal. So we've been looking for an identity for the longest. And you are absolutely right. If our people went out there and sought that image, sought that knowledge, sought that history, and,
Mhm.
and really took it in, things would really, really be different. I like how you said
Yeah.
that because you are absolutely correct. Here's another one. Now, in the book, it says, I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. And lay open the book of the law, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. Now, that's in the Bible.
Mhm.
And again, as you can see earlier, what were they doing right here?
Yeah.
Painting the images of their painting the likeness of their images. So God is always on point. God code with that thing. He already knew what was going to be happening,
Yeah.
and this is exactly what's going on. Again, you see so-called white Jesus. You see this article about. I mean, it's just so and it's so dominant throughout the world.
Yeah.
And it's almost hard for our people to really soak it in. How many times have you seen situations where people will be like, like that one episode of Good Times?
Oh yeah.
All
Oh yeah.
right, you see how
Oh yeah.
Florida was so deep in her white Jesus that when little Michael, who was the small one in the family, was like, "Yo, this
Mhm.
is who the Bible say he looks. This is an actual depiction."
Yep.
She was like,
Yep.
"No, no, no, it's only one, and he don't need no help."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that one really hit home. Even when
Yeah.
that article, I remember I seen back in the day, Ebony magazine had published a issue of Ebony of Essence. I mean, no, it was Ebony. They published an issue of Ebony magazine like in '69 with a picture of Black Jesus on the cover.
Mhm.
Right? This is a Black publication, all right, and they're pretty much their constituents and subscribers are the Black people, right?
Mhm.
The thing was, Black people lost their mind, dude.
Mm.
I mean, for real though, they started writing Ebony magazine, telling them we gonna cancel. I mean, they almost went out of business because of that.
Dang.
Because Black people refuse to accept the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now here's Caesar Borgia. He is the one who posed for the image of the white Jesus that we see today. I'm gonna blow this up right quick. Caesar Borgia is a cardinal deacon and later an Italian condottiero. I don't know how to say that. He is the illegitimate son of Pope Alexander VI of the Aragonese house of Borgia and was a sibling to Lucrezia Borgia. Now, this guy had sex with his sister. All right.
Mhm.
I mean, he was like just a piece of but he's the one that stood in for this image right here that we see today. So when people see this, they're actually seeing him.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
You
And a
know,
lot,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to. I just want to know what was the conversation like before they asked him to paint that picture. Like, what was out then? I know God is the same as the beginning and the end,
Mhm.
but before this picture, before they gave people something to believe in, what was the people believing in at that time? what was, what was the thing before this guy?
Well, the history tells us that our people were really following the true practice of Judaism. They were following the law, statutes, and commandments. But when we broke those laws, we started following the ways of the heathen. And the Lord said he was going to send the worst of the worst of the heathens to put them over us. So when they came and conquered, that's what they did. They knew. See, that's the thing about it. These people know who we are.
Yeah.
They know who they read the same book our grandmothers read. But so that's the reason why they did what they did, because they knew this, as long as they kept us in sin, they had us.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So worshiping this beast, that, as the Bible calls it, it continues to keep us in sin today. That's the thing about it. A lot of our black brothers and sisters, ancestors, grandparents go to these churches on Sunday and they praise a white Jesus and they think they're doing the right thing. And so you really can't blame them. But the thing is, this has been beaten to us since slavery. So for a perfect example, if your grandparents, your great grandparents who were enslaved in slavery, if their slave master was a Pentecostal, well, who do you think the slaves was going to be?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If their slave master was Catholic, who you think the slaves are going to be? Along with, and we still even kept the slave master's last name. You know what I'm saying? My name is Howell. That doesn't sound
right.
You know what I'm saying? That sounds so European. You see what I'm saying? But these are things that happened to us. Caesar Borgia, the boyfriend of Leonardo da Vinci, Da Vinci based on Jesus. So Caesar Borgia was dating in a homosexual relationship Leonardo da Vinci. So imagine what that conversation was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know what? Just going off of the photo that you had up earlier when with the 3 different Jesus with the white on. Yeah. You made me think about something, man. It's like they all white, bright, and they always say, well, black is bad luck. Don't let no black cat cross your yard. Let me tell you something, bro. Up here in Clarksville, we've had so many storms, right? How about it's this black cat that loves to lay in front of our front porch or on the side, and he just chilling. And it kind of startled my wife because she didn't know what it was at first. I said, no. It just came in my spirit. Just let him be, let him chill.
Yeah.
So, whenever, the black cat is out there, we try to feed him or whatever, give him a little water, a little milk. How about when the storms came, and this is no lie, it hit everybody around us, but it went right by our house. We heard the wind blowing strong. We heard the trees, the branches. They was all in the street, all in the yard.
Wow.
And matter of fact, our neighbors they're moving.
Because of
They're
that?
moving. I think so. And then there's another guy across the street. He's moving also.
Damn.
So yeah, they talking about black. And I'm not saying that the black cat saved us.
Right.
But what I'm saying is everybody's talking about black is bad luck. Don't do this, don't do that. Hey, God protected us, and he protected that cat because the cat still comes around.
Hey, remember the rap group Third Base?
Oh, yeah.
It was MC Search, Pete Nice, and Sam Sever. They have a song where Search says, black cats are bad luck. Bad guys wear black. It must have been a white guy who started all that. You see what I'm saying? So why do you think our people hate themselves?
It was like you said, it was forced in us.
You know what I'm saying? When we go to school with our natural hair, they tell us we can't wear our hair natural. All right. They tell us we gotta cut our hair, we gotta shave our faces. All right. There's so many things that they put on us to make us hate ourselves. So you see the result of that. You see brothers out here. Now I understand that sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do to survive. But sometimes brothers capitulate to that type of stuff. Sometimes our sisters, especially our sisters, what are they doing? They walking around with blonde wigs and blonde weave in their hair. All right. They lightening their skin. Like in Africa, they got this stuff called cake soap that they use to lighten their skin. And over the course of time, you start looking like Sammy Sosa and shit. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah, he looked horrible, man.
But that comes from self-hate. Even though we may say, I love myself, but the spirit is in us, a lot of us, that make us do these things because we want to try to fit in what we think is who is the dominant society. And even
Exactly.
if we do those things and try to come around these people, they still know who you are.
Right.
They're still gonna call you the N-word if they feel like doing it. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
So that's crazy. And like here's some of the draft images that Leonardo da Vinci was putting together while he was painting Caesar Borgia as Jesus. Now, check this out. Revelations 13:5 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Saying in so many words, yeah, there was a painting of Jesus Christ, the white Jesus has been going around, but now they brought him to life. So here's the Bible. All right. All these characters in that movie were white as fucking snow, and knowing damn well that's not historically accurate.
Yeah.
The Ten Commandments, the Passion of the Christ, Noah. Now you're starting to see movies, TV shows of them bringing that beast to life. Just like the Bible said, he had the power to give life to the image of the beast. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Now we're seeing, again, movie like the Passion of the Christ. That was one of the biggest movies, one of the biggest religious films that had hit the scene in years. It's still one of the biggest films of that genre, and it still has a hell of an impact. There's been people that I've seen on TikTok that watch this movie, and you can see them crying,
Yeah.
bawling into tears. But this is black people I'm talking about. I ain't just talking about white people. I'm talking about black people.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. You see how it's affected us. We actually believe that when Christ comes back, he's going to look like this.
Right. Right.
No, the real Christ is going to come back and destroy all of this. And all the people who've been worshiping this, they're going to get it too.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Now, check this out. It says, and the third angel followed them. This is Revelations 14:9, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, which is that right there on the right, and receive his mark in his forehead and in his hand. Now, a lot of people was thinking, well, we're gonna end up with 666 in our head. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Or,
Right.
No, what the Bible is saying that receive this mark in his forehead, meaning it's in your mind. You live in this. This is what you concentrate on. This is your, you see what I'm saying? This is what you meditate on.
Yep.
You read the Bible. You go to white church on Sunday and praise white Jesus. And it says mark in his hand, meaning you agree to that. You're doing things that go along with that. So in his hand means you're actually doing it, like you're celebrating the Christmases and the Thanksgivings and the what's that? They don't call it Easter, but it's another name they call it, resurrection.
Oh, resurrection. Yeah.
Like that. That's what the Bible means. So no, it's not meaning that you're gonna get a damn microchip in your hand on your wrist. It means that you're practicing these things. This is what you meditate on, and then you still support it. You're going to church on Sunday, which is not the day that God said to keep holy. He said keep the Sabbath day holy, which is Saturday. So and that's what I'm saying. That's how much this iconoclasm has destroyed us over the years. Here you see a picture on the left of the black Madonna and the black and the child, whereas on the right you see where they fixed it up and made it look like them. Things like that. Now here's a passage out of a book called The Negroes and the Jews. On page 211 says, he called my father. He recalled my father was a janitor who liked to read the Bible and used to say, we are the descendants from the tribe of Judah. We are Jews, which is actually true. Respis clung to the idea, unlike the word Negro, Jew, conjured up in him a rich history and a culture of religion and a language. That's the sort of things Respis noted, that give men worth. I remember when I was in my 20s, a friend took me to a meeting in South Philadelphia of Negroes, okay, who considered themselves Jews. Now, this is actually talking about us back in the day. Respis shook his head. They were racist. They considered white Jews imposters. They held that with the white, he said they held that the white man was a little better than an animal. Damn, that's cold. And it was just the same old evil we've been suffering from, but in reverse. We hate them rather than them hating us. Saying in so many words, we were sticking to our thing, and we didn't like anybody trying to take on and take our religion and try to do. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a convert, which is what these so-called Israelis in Israel right now. They're not the real Jews, they're just converts, but they're really from Poland. You know what I'm saying? They're from Russia. They're Ashkenazi Jews, but they're not the real ones. Negroes claim to be Jewish is legitimate. This is on page 212 of the same book. The land of Israel is located in Western Asia and borders on the north of North Africa. All of the natives, and all of the native inhabitants of their region were non-white. Let me say it again. All of the native inhabitants of that region were non-white, saying right now that these so-called Jews in Israel, they're not the people of the land. Why do you think they're going through all that war with Palestine? All right. Since 1948, they set up shop with the help of the United States and the British Empire. They the ones that put them there. They the one to put them there and told them, hey, look, y'all gonna have to, unadd some of this land. So that's the reason why Palestine is fighting, is in a war with Israel right now. It's been going on for years because these white so-called Jews went and set up shop, pretty much colonized their land and said, this is where we're gonna be at. And for all these years, Palestine have been trying to just fight to get their land back. But here's the crazy part. That land don't belong to either one of them.
Right.
It belongs to the true people who that land was made for, which is our ancestors and us. It seems probable that some of them were brought later to America as slaves. Talking about us. The spirituals never sang of African rivers. It was always Jordan or the Red Sea. So when you hear gospel songs, what are they talking about? The River Jordan. You see what I'm saying? This is what they were saying back then. Again, the spirituals were never sang of African rivers. It was always the Jordan. So in so many words, we wasn't talking about the Nile River. We wasn't talking about things that were actually in Africa. We were talking about things that was there in Jerusalem, where we were from. Right. And that's in our gospel songs to this very straight day right now. They don't sing about African chiefs or kings. It's David or Moses or some other Jewish characters from the Bible. And this has come from this is a book written by white historians who are actually telling the truth.
Wow.
Yeah. So see, that's what I'm saying. So people know what's going on. It's just that our people don't know what's going on.
Right.
All right. Now in the song, it's crazy. Now look, this is just a image I found online of so-called King Solomon. And I say so-called because this is just an image that they put together, but it kind of goes with what this scripture says. In the Songs of Solomon 1 and 5, he says, I am black but comely. Comely means handsome or beautiful. So when you hear the term black and beautiful, he was the first one to actually say it back in the days. O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar and the curtains of Solomon. Meaning so many words, he was claiming, hey, I'm black and I'm beautiful. That's what King Solomon, our ancestor, King Solomon, was saying that back then. And the gates thereof language, they are black unto the ground. Now, this is in Jeremiah 14:2. Again, talking about us. And the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So again, these are the things that we know. It's in the book. When people say it's the white man book, well, if the white man wrote this, why would he put these things in it?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Why would he put these type of things in? And this is just the image I found of all the angels up there. They're black. They're fighting. They burning a rebel flag. This image is deep. So I'm gonna send you a copy of it so you take a look at it yourself. Then I'm gonna see the image of the serpent, which is Satan. This image is deep though. It's crazy as hell. Man. So now that was just some of the stuff I wanted to show you on this PDF. But I'm gonna play this video clip right quick. And this is Bishop Nathaniel talking about some of the same thing. Check this out.
Look what is on the cover. But let's go inside. All right. Let's see who this character is. Let me turn it. God Creates the Earth by Raphael. So they want us to believe that this is God creating the earth.
Wow.
So this is what First Maccabees 3:48 was talking about. Let's get some more. Let me turn the next page. Let me try to get some of that gleam out of it. Sheen. What is this? The Ark. Dutch school artist unknown.
Come on, man.
So this is Noah's Ark. I suppose that's supposed to be Noah, his sons, and their wives.
My
You
goodness.
can't make this stuff up. Let's go over here. What is this? Hold on.
Is this a children's Bible?
I would assume so because it got so many images.
Joseph sold by his brethren by Antonio del Castillo. Look at this. That's Joseph being sold. Remember, Joseph was sold by the Arabs to the Egyptians. Wow, yeah, they really look like Arabs and Egyptians, and Joseph really looks like a Hebrew. And Israel, Get the hell out of here. I'll go back to this thing about Noah's Ark. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. Shout out to Daniel. Yeah, man. So again, iconoclasm in itself, just images, not even talking about the way the white man perverted the Bible and preached it to us, just the images that they put out there still affects us today. Let me show you this video clip right quick. Check this out. And this is some black Catholics. Check this out. Crazy, ain't it?
Man, I have never seen nothing like that. I've never seen. Is that another country?
Yeah, I think there's somewhere in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, God forgive me for this. But while they kissing his chest and his stomach, they should have went on further down. Because that's ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous. As bad as they talk about,
spiritually, they were doing it.
Right, man. No. Gosh, as bad as they talk about the white man and stuff, man, shoot them with a spear. We do not like you, white man. That was the white image that they was kissing.
Yes. Wild as hell, ain't it? Wild as hell. Check this out.
Man.
Here's another brother that's confused. Check this out.
When I had my experience with the Lord, he was not white, nor was he black, but he was Middle Eastern. He had the same color. If you were to take a bottle of olive oil with the oil that you could see through it, and you were to hold it up to the sun. In fact, the next time you go outside, when it's sunny, go get a bottle of olive oil and hold it up to the sun. And that's the same color that Jesus is. But I want you to notice something about that group. They will always make things about race and never focus on the deity of the person of Christ and what he did. This is how you know that they're false. When I had my...
Now, again, we just read in the Bible where it said his feet were as a brass, as if they burned in the furnace. How do you hold a bottle of damn olive oil up to the sun and get black?
Right.
You see what I'm saying, Mark? This is the problem that I'm having with our people, because they claim that they know God and this all that, but then when they say stuff like that.
That's crazy. I ain't never heard of that, man. And I got a bottle of anointing oil myself.
Yeah.
So I've never heard that, never seen that. All I'm going by is what's in that Bible, and by the Spirit of God leading me.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you, man, God has taught me a lot. because as you remember my grandmother, she was always a church woman, but as she got older, you know, she kind of like faded off from church, and we started talking about God amongst ourselves.
Mhm.
And everything that I've learned about the church and you know what's really said in the Bible, God has taught me that, man. No man has taught me that because I have been let down so many times by different pastors or these so-called prophets. You know, I have been let down from them so many times, man. God woke me up, and like I said, I had a rude awakening, man. I don't know if I told you when I was in Laverne and God actually spoke to me that day. I said I was gonna write a song about it, but I
Yeah,
never did.
I think you mentioned something about that to me.
Man, he spoke to me that day, and from that day on, I listened to him, and I always read. And like I said, he taught me everything that I know right now.
Yeah. Now, when the Bible says don't follow the way of the heathens, he don't mean just these other nations. He
Mm-hmm.
also mean our people that's out here living as Gentiles,
Yep.
following the ways of the heathen, following their
Yep.
customs and their ideology and their idols.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that includes the TD Jakes, the Creflo Dollars, right along with the Joel Osteens and you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
those people, the Joyce Myers and all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are the things that have pretty much taken our people off course.
Yes.
Instead of them trying to lead the people back to God, then leading them further away from God. They again, they got them coming in on Sunday, which is not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
They got them coming in on Easter Sunday. They got them paying tithes, which is not money. I mean, they got them doing everything that the Most High doesn't want them to do. And then people that not my Jesus, you get these kind of responses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that, again, that's why I don't even really go into it with some of these people because they refuse to accept the truth. I mean, they literally refuse, as you said earlier, the truth is out there. They just have to want to go and seek it. You know what I'm saying? Now here's our brother Killer Mike on White Jesus. Check this out.
That is a crazy one, the White Jesus one, right?
White Jesus is a motherfucker, bruh. White Jesus in the black community is a mythical creature that has enormous power, right? It's insane for anyone to believe in a deity that doesn't look like them. White Jesus kind of goes everywhere and colonizes everything. So, you know, the church pops up with candy for kids, Bibles for you. And by the way, we're going to be gone a while, but we're going to leave this guy here on the wall so you know what God's son looked like. So if God's son looks like a doobie brother, then so does God. God looks like Jim Morrison. You know what I'm saying? Really, Jesus was probably a tan guy with dark curly hair and brown eyes. You know?
Wow.
Now, one thing I didn't like about that was that last part where they showed the so-called fake Jesus and the real Jesus. The one that claimed the real Jesus looked like the Middle Eastern guy that the other brother was talking about.
Yeah.
He's in the Middle East is a term that's brand new. There's no such thing as a Middle East because if that's the case, where's the Middle West?
Right.
Where's the Middle North? Where's the Middle South? These are terms that was made up. Even the Suez Canal. The white man literally cut that piece to separate Africa and Israel, you know, to separate them two.
Yeah.
You know, Israel is a part of Africa, just like Egypt. Like right now today, you swear to God, these people swear to God that Egypt ain't in Africa.
Right.
And it's literally the upper crown of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much damage that these images and this so-called religion has done us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even with, I mean, it's really, it almost like really blows my mind listening to some of these people now because they say, and here's another thing: when you worship these different idols and these different religions, you get another gospel, you get another spirit put on you.
Right.
All right. So you okay with LGBT type of shit? You okay with fornicate? You okay with having babies out of wedlock? You okay with this so-called come as you are, which is not in the Bible?
Right.
Again, you okay with wearing jeans? You okay with sinning? You okay with all kind of damn sins? Because again, this white Jesus allows everything to happen. Look at what, even with history, Mark, the Klan, those were Christians.
Yeah. You said the key word, Christians. Christians is not even in the Bible.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, my bad. Christianity. I'm sorry.
Right, Christianity. Right. The word Christian is, but not the religion of Christianity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These were so-called Christians hanging black people.
Mhm.
All right. Where was John 16 back then? Because people misinterpret
Right.
John 16, but that's another story. But the thing is, let's just say for the sake of the argument, where was John 16 then? If he's so-called Lord of the world, you see what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
why wasn't they feeling like that when it came to us?
Right.
Where was
Right.
that when they drugged James Byrd for 3 miles until all this came off?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So again, this stuff has destroyed and damaged our people to the point that we're still lost. It's made us
Mhm.
further lost. The Lord said we're gonna be groping in the daytime like we're blind people, saying there's so
Yep.
many words. We're gonna be still feeling our way around, even in the day. We don't know nothing. We don't know where we are in society. We don't know where we are in this world. So now it's the time
Mhm.
for our people to do everything you can to get away from these customs, these
Yeah.
idols, and these so-called religions of these white men. Because again, all these religions literally are man-made. Islam,
Yep.
Buddha, because they don't have a God. The God of the Bible is not for them, so they came up with their own gods.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how well, you know what? It's crazy, but at the same time, if you really think about it, it's brilliant for the devil
Yeah.
for them to come up with something like that to take control. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Bible, didn't it speak about after Moses that not right after Moses, but uh further down in the Bible that the Israelites was going to be in the wilderness for like 1,000 years or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
I believe we're in those
Yep.
1,000 years.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
somewhere in between the way it started
Mm-hmm.
and probably somewhere in the middle or 3/4 of it, but we're somewhere in that 1,000 of the wilderness.
Well, you know what? This is the last captivity. So us being brought over here to North America to go through chattel slavery like we've been through. This is the last. This is the last of it. So we're not even going to go into slavery no more. We're going to get redeemed after this. It's just that it has to be enough of our people to wake up and start getting, start doing the right thing to come around. And then once the Lord sees that number is there, it's on. It's on. But yeah, this is the last captivity right here, fam. And the thing about it is, anybody who don't believe that we are the people of the Bible, Deuteronomy 28 kills all that.
It's a wrap.
Deuteronomy 28 kills all that. We're the ones that had the yoke of iron around our neck. We were the ones that brought up to Egypt again, but on ships.
Yeah.
Because when Moses brought us out of Egypt the first time, we literally walked up out there. We literally walked up out of Egypt. But this time we went into spiritual Egypt and Sodom.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we at right now. And back then you couldn't fly over here.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Even if you could, the white man wasn't going to pay for all of us to get on the damn flight. But they brought us over here in ships. And that's why I'm keep telling my people, if you don't believe that we the people of the Bible, just read Deuteronomy 28 and all that'll be done for. And if you choose not to believe it after that, then that's on you, because you still have some people that don't believe that slavery never existed. How?
Right. That's crazy.
That's really crazy. And I mean, you have all this historical evidence out here, even movies like Roots and what's the other movie that's really graphic? It's a slave movie. It'll come to me. But still, how could you say that didn't exist? So how the hell do you think we got here? You think just because you was born in Detroit or Chicago that this is naturally your homeland? No, the Bible said we're never going to see our homeland again once we left Jerusalem, once we left Israel, and we ain't never been back, have we?
Nope.
We ain't never been back. That's now when people call themselves moving to Africa, they do what you want to do, but you can't go over there because you don't know what tribe you are.
Right.
Them African people, they know exactly what's going on with us. That's why they make fun of us. You got the white man last name, you don't know what tribe you're from, and they ain't lying. So when a lot of people be leaving America, moving over to Africa, to Ghana, and all that, they get robbed, they get finessed, get unalived in some situations.
Right.
All right. So what's the use of us? So when a white man say, "Take your ass back to Africa," how?
Yeah.
If you want us to go back to Africa, you should have sent us back as soon as you fucking so-called emancipated us and freed us.
Man, what you said.
All right. But the Bible said we're never going to see our homeland until he comes back. So right now, this is where we at. We're in America. We're in the Caribbean. We're in Haiti. We're in Spain. You know what I'm saying? And these were lands that were all ruled by us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But they went on the Inquisition. They went all around the world, killing people, forcing Christianity on them.
Yeah.
All right. So you had to capitulate, or that was your ass. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
again, man, these are the things that this happened to us, and our people have been totally destroyed for it, man. I mean, and he said that he gonna have a yoke of iron around your neck until he had destroyed thee. Meaning, even when he took the yoke of iron around our neck, that meant we destroyed. He ain't gotta put us in slavery no more. He ain't gotta kill us no more. We killing ourselves now. We didn't want to sell drugs to each other, gunning each other down. We were fighting over colors. Come on, bro.
Right.
Let's zoom out and look at that. We're fighting over colors. Tim Dog said in the song "Fuck Compton" years ago, all that shit is for dumb motherfuckers. And the West Coast took it personal, but you have to really be mature enough to really see what he was saying. That's some stupid ass shit.
That is.
All right.
It is. And they never talked about anything colorful in the Bible but the rainbow.
But even still, I mean, our people are just gone, man. I mean, we're fighting, we're killing each other over color, we're killing each other over territory that we don't even own. Right. This is our block. This is my block. But when that white man come through and give your ass 90 days to move, you're not gonna be in his face talking about some this is my hood. Your ass gonna be looking for a place to stay.
Exactly.
But we so do that to each other. Go ahead.
We was my bad. Me and Nitty was on the phone talking about that yesterday. And he was telling me, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm going down to Memphis, man, to shoot a film." So what first thing got in my head, because he is from DC, but he's out there living in LA. I was like, man, do you want me to call some people? I'm saying to myself, I need to call some of my peoples to make sure he's safe.
Right.
God said, nah, he's gonna be all right. And so I told Nitty, I laughed. I said, man, I gotta tell you something, man. He said, what's up, bro? He said, I noticed you laughing over there. What's funny? I said, well, the first thing that came to my head was I wanted to call my peoples to send them to Memphis to make sure, you know, that you're good. And then God told me no. He said, exactly. He said, Mark, I can go anywhere because I got God with me. I ain't worried about no colors, no sets, or none of that. And we laughed about that, man. But yeah, you're right. Fighting over colors, man, that's nothing worth to be fighting over, you know.
Hey, so the hell ain't.
Yeah.
All talking all that check-in shit. Who am I
Right.
But here it is. Your neighborhood been gentrified, and there's a white woman jogging down the fucking street at 2 in the morning. You ain't telling her ass to check in.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
We gonna get checked up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You're gonna get messed around with dealing with them people on that level. But the thing is, they know as long as they got us sinning, they got us. As long as they keep us each other, they got us. As long as that's the reason why. I mean, we already knew who we were, but when they brought us over here, we didn't know how to read English. We didn't know how to read their books.
Right.
Reason why they fought so hard to keep us from reading, because they knew once we read, we're gonna be okay. This is us.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they had the slave Bible. They took out so many damn verses and chapters and scriptures out the Bible. They like made a condensed version. It was all the slaves obey your masters and all this other shit.
Right.
And so we couldn't do nothing but just go along with it because that's what we thought it was. But once they knew, that's why I be telling people, Master, we can read now. Now we know what's up. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, that's what they was in fear of. They was in fear of us waking up. Why do you think they so hate woke so much?
Right.
Why do you think they hate woke so much? Because they see us waking up, and now that we waking up, now they in fucking fear.
Yeah.
They've been afraid of us so-called waking up, and now we're waking up. Now they're getting more and more scared.
Yeah.
Even J. Edgar Hoover. They asked him what was the biggest thing. America. This devil said the rise of a black Messiah. He didn't say bombs from Russia.
Right.
They being invaded from another country. This devil said the rise of a black Messiah. And at that time, he was keeping tabs on Martin Luther King and Malcolm X because he knew that they had so much influence on that. They were scared that we was going to rise up.
Yep.
You know,
he was telling the truth. Yeah. Because once we get up there, it's a wrap.
Believe me, fam. It's it's already wrapping up. Look at what's happening.
Yep.
They plantations are being burned out of nowhere. All right, the
Right,
museums are
right.
being destroyed. The Confederate museums are being destroyed out of nowhere. And this ain't
Mhm.
nothing that man did. This ain't nothing that we did. This is all
Exactly.
the work of God. This is God.
Exactly.
God is cleaning out Gaza and Palestine and
Mhm.
Israel because He's making it for us. He cleaning that
Yeah.
shit out for us. And,
Yep.
and again, and those who are watching, if you're of the Caucasian persuasion, you got to know that the Lord said, prepare slaughter for their children for the iniquities of the fathers. Meaning in so many words, you can sit here and tell me and Mark that I'm not racist. I didn't put nobody in slavery, but guess what? You don't have to be, because the Lord gonna still punish your ass for what your ancestors did. Just
Yeah.
because those people who did it back in the day, they ain't gone, they ain't escaped judgment. They have not
Yep.
escaped judgment. They gonna get judged for that shit, and your ass gonna get judged for that shit because you benefited from it.
Yeah.
You ain't unassing. That's the reason why they fight so hard to not give us reparations, bro. Because they
Mhm.
know if they do, it's more than just money. They have to literally unass the whole planet to us.
Yeah. Yep. You right. But I was just sitting here thinking, man, when you said that they're going to be benefiting and reaping what, I could just hear somebody say, well, what are you guys going to reap? Well, just read the Bible. It tells you clear as day what
Listen,
we're
man,
going to reap.
the Bible says Esau at the end of the world and Jacob is the star that follows it. Meaning we got next. We
Exactly.
got next.
Exactly.
So Esau, the Edomite, the Idumean, the white race, their time is up. The devil's time is up. When the devil's time is up, that means the white race's time is up. That's not just American whites, that's the Russian whites, that's the French whites, that's the Dutch, you know what I'm saying? All of these whites and the other nations, including in that mix as well.
Yeah.
So again, he said Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the start of it that follows. Meaning we got next. We're gonna be in rulership of this place when it's all said and done. But the biggest part about it is the big homie gonna be here in the midst of us.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? So it ain't gonna be no more McDonald's, ain't gonna be no more NBA. All
Yeah.
that shit's going out the way, man. All that shit's gonna
Yeah.
be gone, dude. So enjoy it while you can, people. Because when the Most High come back, He sent His Son. He's not coming back to give out ice cream and cake.
No.
Coming back to do some damage.
Ooh, he's
He
coming to
know,
clean up, man.
He know what y'all did to us. He know that you painted the images. He know that you put a white Jesus out here in the world. He said, many going to come in my name. And that's what he's talking about. This is the beast and the devil that the Bible talks of. So if anyone is offended about their white Jesus, just know this. You're not praising the real God. You literally practicing idolatry. You're worshiping an image.
Mm-hmm.
There's no historical or biblical or actual history that proves that Jesus was white with long stringy dog hair and blue eyes.
Right, right. Yeah, because it clearly says in the Bible what it says, And I mean, still, even if it doesn't give like a total full description, it gives a doggone good description.
It give you enough, don't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, a kid can read that, put two and two together, and know what's up. So
Yep.
it's what
Yep.
it is. Anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
Man, as I always say, man, I thank God, man, because every day above ground, whether if I'm hurting, sick, or whatever, I'm here to open my eyes, to breathe. So I thank God for that, man. And He's giving me another chance, man, to try to make it right, with people. So
Yeah.
anybody out there, man, who's listening, watching, I've done wrong, man, please forgive me. I'm saying this on a podcast, and I hope, hey, you can just forgive me, man. I'm a human. I made mistakes. So I just ask you all to forgive me.
Yeah, I mean, it's ain't nothing wrong with that, because the Bible said to love your neighbors as yourself, and He ain't talking about the other nations. I'm going to keep bringing this up. I'm going to keep hitting this home. The Bible is only for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Only the 12 tribes of Israel. That's Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Manasseh, Gad. I mean, and everyone else in that list. You don't see Edom on there. You don't see Moab on there. You don't see Ammonite on there. You sure as hell don't see Amalek, which is the biblical name of the Jews. You don't see none of that. You only see the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Only salvation is only for us. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. And a lot of people are waking up to, even a lot of other nations are waking up to that fact too. But the thing is, enough of our people need to wake up to it. That's what matters most. All right. So again, I'm Dollar Billsco, my brother Mystery. Thanks for checking in. This has been It Was Written, episode 2, Iconoclasm. We'll see you guys 2 weeks from now with a new episode. Peace.